To continue with this study guide, we want to implement a function is palindrome that returns 1 if a string is palindrome, otherwise 0. Can be iterative or recursive. Because we're in C, I think, and because an iterative solution both makes sense, and like C is better for iterative programs, so we're going to do that. So we're going to return an int is palindrome, and we'll take in a char star stir and int. Oh, but we don't get to detect how large the string is, do we? And that feels like you ought to pass in the size of the string. So let's do that. Let's say, right, the length of the string is an int len. And so I'm going to have an index int I initialized to 0. And then for int I, actually, let's do a while loop. While I is less than len over 2. So we're just going to progress from both the right and the left ends of the string and check that they are equal. So what I want is to check if stir at index I is not equal to stir at len minus 1 minus I, then I would like to return 0. It's not a palindrome. We found some place where the strings in the relative positions don't match, but if we reach the end, it's a palindrome. Okay, that's it. So now let's check here, let's just see, is this a palindrome? Ooh, oh, right, and now we should return a digit. So, ooh, what does it not like here? Oh, right, and I need to give it the length, which is 5. 0, it's not a palindrome. Let's give it a palindrome. So that would be like that. And now it has length. Let's be a little safe and say stir len of example, just to, right, if I ever want to edit this, then it's nice if that just happens automatically. Oh, God, right. My I never incremented. So 1, it is a palindrome. Let's go back to hello just to make sure that it understands that. 0, very good. Okay, so there's the is palindrome function. Okay, the following program crashes. What is the problem and how can we fix it? So we just have a main function. We have a pointer to an integer and some integer. Right, how much you want to guess that the issue is you're trying to follow a null pointer. Do we deref val? Yep, we sure do. So the problem is that we deref a pointer that is null. That's it. Following program crashes. What is the problem and how can we fix it? Import some stuff, initialize, we stir copy into an array. So how much you want to bet we try to put too much text into an array that is not sized to accommodate that much text? Yep, right? The size of the stir array is 5. That's way more than 5 characters, especially if you then further consider the null character. And so that's going to cause not an index out of bounds error. That's what it would be in Java, but here it just lets you go beyond the bounds of the array. What is the output of this program? So we have a header file, and it's got an integer and a pointer. So how much you want to bet it tries to reassign the integer, but because that is not because of pass by value types of considerations, x is unchanged, but then we try to do something to y, and because that's a pointer, then y is changed. Let's just check that that's right. Okay, we print something, but I don't think we care what we print, not terribly anyway. But then we update the value located at the pointer. So this, because we are updating the value located at the pointer, is a mutation that we will see outside the context of the function. This is a mutation that is not done with pointers. This is passed by value. And so this change you will not see outside of the call to the function. It also wants us to draw the function stack here. So we'll think about that later. But then you return x. Okay, worth knowing maybe. Now let's see how it gets used. We declare 3 integers, grab val1 and val2 from the user, pass val1 by val2 by pointer. So we print out val1 and val2. Oh yeah, right. I was right. I was thinking val2 was supposed to be a pointer, but it's not a pointer. It's just an integer, so this is fine. But then what we do down here is we give it the address, and that is a pointer. So okay. So that, okay, and this is what goes into ret, which is the return value. So it's going to return x, and x was whatever the user gave it up there. And then we're going to give it the address of val2. And then since we're calling all this, like, okay, let's the output of this program. So what do, right? So we take y plus x. So like whatever the user put in for x and y, this is going to be x plus y. And so that's what's going to get printed when we print here. And the return is just x, which is just the val1 value. And that doesn't change because of the call to the function. Okay. Oh, actually, but it does because inside the context of the function, the return value of x is mutated, and that is what is returned. So this is also x plus y. This will print x. This will print x plus y. This will also, and this will print x plus 5, right? Okay, anyway. Okay, draw the state of the function where I think it just indicated here, right? So what would we draw here? It's hard to draw on this. At the base of the execution stack is always going to be the main function. It's going to have these integers allocated inside of the, the main level, right? Level 0 initially. They're going to be, right, they're going to store the values given by the user. There's this call to print, which doesn't really change anything. Then there's this call, and we are asked to kind of pause everything in the middle of this call to the function, so let's come down to the call to the function. Now we draw something on top of the main stack. Now main is at level 1, this is at level 0, right? This call puts a new level, level 0 on the top of the stack. And this pointer is going to point to val2 down here in the level 0 stack with variable val2. So this pointer points to that. But this is not a pointer, and it is simply a local variable called x, which holds the value 5. It holds the value whatever the user passed in from the main call. But anyway, once this happens, what the pointer points to, which is, recall, the same as the variable val2, is going to get updated by this line. And then the local, right, so this is going to be like pointing out of level 1, or out of level 0 into level 1, the main, right, level 1 being main, changing the value to be x plus y, basically. But inside of level 0 here, we are going to be updating the value of x. And so that's what you would basically draw at this point. Okay, yeah, and it asks all these questions, which I think we've basically answered through that conversation. I just don't feel like trying to draw with my mouse right now, so I'm not going to bother drawing that. Okay, there we go.